Hello, and welcome to another episode of Where Our Minds Take Us. This is your host, Isaac. I said this is an episode of Where Our Minds Take Us, but that's not exactly what I'm doing right now. And this isn't a normal episode. To be honest, I just downloaded OBS Studio and kind of wanted to mess around with it. So I figured I would record me playing a game. And I just got this game called A Legionary's Life. The game takes place, I believe, during the late Roman Republic. At least the beginning of it does. I played it a little bit and haven't gotten too far because I'm not very good. But I believe it takes place in the late Roman Republic during the, I want to say, Third Punic War. Let me look that up. Punic Wars. When did Hannibal go to Rome? Second Punic War. Looks like. Okay, I was wrong. 247 BC. Again, this was during the Roman Republic. This was before Rome had become an empire. And you play as a legionary in this game. I'm going to just start it up here. So you start out as just it's kind of a text-click game. And you start out as just a basic legionnaire. And essentially you make decisions and you play through it, and you gain rapport with your fellow legionnaires or the centurion and the proconsul. And you can rank up, you can get better gear, you train, you get better at what you do. Like I said, it's pretty difficult actually. Let's just go ahead and do new game here. I'm going to turn down the sound on this. So here in the character creation, you can choose to do emphasis on either physical, balance, or mental, and then you roll again. So essentially you can choose an emphasis and then roll based on that emphasis, and it changes your stats. I'm going to go with physical. Let's go ahead and roll. Okay, so it's going to give me 71 strength, 12 endurance, or 62 endurance, 51 constitution. Yep, you can see the rest. I'm not going to say it all. Yep, so these are all kind of down here. Charisma, awareness, intellect, from my understanding, affect kind of social interactions and some various other things in combat as well. While your strength, endurance, constitution, quickness, coordination are mainly affect how you perform in combat. So that looks good to me. I'm just going to go ahead and accept. Let's choose a name. So I already chose Cato, and I've done Brutus, and I've done Aurelius. Let's do Gnaeus Julius Caesar. How do you spell that? Ugh. Let me look that up as well. Not a smart man. Gnaeus Julius. Gnaeus. Gnaeus. Confirm. Okay, and then here, based on the last playthrough you did, you get points. And you get more points further you get, and more enemies you kill, and choices you make. And then you can use those at the beginning of your next playthrough to kind of buff yourself. I'm not going to use any of these this time. I'm just going to play as if this was the first time. I'm going to just say yes, and those points will carry over to next time. So here, just some exposition on the time frame. Essentially, it's just going over the conflict that is happening. So long story short, Hannibal invades, gets into Rome, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to skip that. So then here is the kind of main screen, I suppose, in the game. From here, you can choose to train, work out, buy, sell, leisure, miscellaneous, and then you got your character stats, your inventory, deeds you've accomplished, and save and exit. You can just be normal.
Okay.
Sorry, my girlfriend is trying to very stealthily do things behind me. Well, you don't have to start throwing stuff around.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to start out by trading. Actually, let's go ahead and look at my character sheet here. So my sword skill is pretty low, shield low, pretty much everything is pretty low. I'm pretty strong. I have decent endurance, constitution, quickness, coordination, all pretty moderate. This is actually seems like a really good roll. Excuse me. I'm drinking some Mountain Dew. Yeah, Mountain Dew and playing video games. Anyways, so I think we're going to work on our sword and javelin. So I'm just going to do javelin practice, and it looks like that was successful. We'll do that again, successful. And then let's do some solo practice with the sword. Good. Okay, and then every once in a while, so also I forgot to mention there's this time left bar. So each action you take kind of chips away at the time left, and then once the time left runs out, it goes to the next like battle. And then throughout this kind of in the middle scenes where you train and whatnot, every now and again it'll do this, the thread of your life is spun, and then it's like a random encounter event. So we'll see what this does. Your physical prowess gives you a significant advantage whenever you are sent out to gather firewood. You regularly perform better than average and even remedy your comrades' shortcomings. So actually, this is the first time I've ever seen this one. Your opinion, Centurion, has gone up by 2, and the troops like me by 3. Cool. So all that did was essentially a strength and endurance check, and I passed it, and it improved my strength and endurance, or improved the support I get from my fellow Legionnaires as well as the Centurion. Another thing is, now I believe each time you do this training screen or whatever, these in between each battle, you can do 2 javelin practice, 2 sword practice, so this one or any of these, and then 2 of these workouts. Once you do 2 of each of those, you'll start getting fatigued essentially, and you can, a bar will show up here. I'll just do it and show you. So I did 2 javelin. There's another sword. Okay, I think I just did 3 sword. So see there, over exercise stress. So this bar starts going up. And once it gets to a certain level, you'll start to lose morale. So your morale is right here. So right now I'm content. And to get this bar to go back down, you have to do these leisure things. So hang around, and that makes the troops like me more, and it decreases that bar. So we go back again. Let's do our workouts. So we're pretty strong. We have decent endurance. I don't know if we were very quick. Okay, quick and constitution are a little low. So let's go ahead and run, and that's going to improve our quickness. Fortunately, that failed. And we did it again, and that time it worked. Oh, and it looks like another random event. The Army's discipline is of utmost importance to the proconsul. Endless grueling marches like this one are not uncommon. You have been on the move for hours with many miles still to go before you can camp. The man to your right looks exhausted. His water ration is already gone. He won't last much longer. So essentially we have a choice here. We can give him some water or do nothing. So let's give him some water. His thankful look says more than 1,000 words. So the troops like me more by 3, and my virtue is increased by 5. But I didn't meet the endurance check up there, so it says you lack the stamina to keep going with so little water. Eventually you start to fall behind. The Centurion's vine staff is painful. You effective motivator though. So the Centurion likes me less, and my morale has dropped. Morale. At last, it's time to camp. Your ordeal is over, or we will be once you've finished building the camp. And those random events can go either way. Like I said, they stat check you, and then depending on your stats, it rolls, from my understanding, RNG, and it decides if you meet it or not. Okay, so we're a little over-exercised. Let's do some miscellaneous things. So here you have miscellaneous. Extra coaching you can only do if you're a centurion or a tribune, an optio. Okay. You can offer sacrifices, so you can pay money to get a morale boost. It's 40 denarii. And then the basic ones are extra patrol and extra guard. So extra guard, you can improve your relation with your troops and the centurion, but it damages your morale. While extra patrol does the same things, but it can also give a chance of random events. I'm not sure if extra guard can. I don't think I've seen any random events. So let's just do extra guard. So yep, make troops like me more, and the centurion likes me more, but I lost 2 morale. So my morale is still content, but it's dropped a little bit. So when your morale is content in battle, there's no plus or minus, no bonuses or negatives. When it drops low, it starts causing you to, it affects your stats essentially. And then if it's high, it'll give you a bonus. So that's pretty important. Let's go back to workouts. Let's see what we got here actually. I'm going to go to the character sheet again. So again, quickness is kind of low. Awareness is that red 48 because I believe that's because the helmet that I'm wearing causes me to be less aware. So if we go here to inventory, look at our helmet, awareness 2, yeah. And we have 62 denarii. Okay, so I'm actually going to train more. I want to get this sword stat up. And that didn't help. So let's do sparring with anyone. So this is the base sparring training. You can do good and best later on when you have a higher sword level and also when you are more popular with the troops. But the sparring with anyone, you can do it with anyone, so yeah. And then you can also choose the focus. So you can choose like defensive, in between, or more offensive. So I'm going to choose more offensive. Let's do sparring again. That time it increased our sword skill and our shield skill. So yeah, in combat, your shield skill, you can use your shield to bash people or charge them. Knocks them over. Let's go back to leisure and we'll play some dice. I gain some money, hang around, troops like me more, hang around again. Okay. This part of the game takes a lot of strategy. Take a drink. Okay. Yeah, you gotta really, I guess, min-max this. To be honest, I haven't figured out what's best to do yet because I really just started playing this. I'm going to continue to work on that sword skill. Actually, let me look at that again. 33. So I read you can do solo practice up to about 40, and then once you get there, you need to start doing the sparring mainly. So that increased. Let's take a look at it now. It's up to 36. Okay, cool. Let's do some leisure since we're kind of tired. Play a board game. I won 2 denarii and troops like me more by 1, and my morale has increased by 2. Cool. Oh, and there's my regular pay. 37 denarii. So let's see here. I have 102. So let's go ahead and check out the stores. You can come here to buy and sell, and then you search. So you look for like a... Oh, and it looks like it got interrupted by one of these stories. Scaling walls is part of today's drill. In front of your line, a ladder is propped against the camp walls. One by one, the men ahead of you sprint towards it and start climbing. Very soon, it's your turn. How do you approach this? Let's do nonchalant and confident. Oh, my awareness check did not meet. Your overconfidence and lack of attention betray you when you suddenly miss a step. Instinctively, you attempt to recover and fail miserably. In a moment of panic, you see the ground below getting closer at an alarming speed. You have not fallen from a great height, yet the impact is very painful. Your health is decreased by 16. Well, that sucks. Does that affect my overall health, or I don't really know. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. So we got some swords, some helmets, breastplates. Let's take a look at this helmet. So we can compare here to what we're wearing right now. So we can see that covers more of my head and neck, offers more damage protection, and it's more anti-armor resistant. Penalty, awareness is 3, so my awareness penalty goes up by 1. The material quality is better by 3. Let's go ahead and buy that. And yes, we will equip the item that we bought. Let's go ahead and sell the old one, so I'm going to drag that over. Confirm sale. So I have 34 denarii now. It's not very much. Let's get out of here. Let's take a look at my character. Yeah, so that injured me. So let's just do some leisure. Let's hang around. So your wounds hurt. Okay, so that hurt my morale because I'm hurt. That sucks. Let's hang around again. And again, morale went down. And it looks like my health went back up. Whoops. I did javelin training on accident, but that's fine. We'll accept that. I'm going to exit out of this. Let's do some workouts. So let's improve. Let's see. Our endurance was pretty good, I think. Yeah, it's all right. Constitution, quickness. Yeah, so constitution, quickness are the big ones. Coordination, I didn't look. Coordination is okay. Let's just do some more quickness ones. That didn't help. That went up a little bit. Okay, let's play some dice. Hang around. And it looks like our time is up, so we're going to go ahead and choose move on. Whoops, skip that. You march to the south. It doesn't take long for your destination to become apparent. You are bound for New Carthage, the capital of the Carthaginian colonies here in Hispania. It's a daring move and very risky. Several days later, you reach your destination and set camp far from the city. According to Camp Talk, the closest enemy army is about 10 days' march from here. A long siege is out of the question. You have to take New Carthage by storm. You cast a glance at the city walls, strong stone walls. The thought of fighting your way up there makes your stomach churn. It's hard not to think that you may be looking at the place where your days will end. I can only imagine how terrifying that would be in real life. I know this is a game, but it's still kind of interesting to consider. So again, here you can just kind of look at your character stats before you go into battle. Yep, everything looks good. Sword is 36. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. The next morning, your maniple is among the first to move out of the camp and reach the plain right in front of the city. So a maniple, from my understanding, is similar to, I think, a platoon. I want to say it's about 50 men. Let's look that up. How many men are in a maniple? I don't want to give false information here. Oh, 120. So that's more like almost a company. And curious, how many maniples are in a cohort? How many maniples in a cohort? Originally, a cohort consisted of 6 centurii, each commanded by a centurion, assisted by a junior officer. Various times prior to the reforms, a century might have 100 men. Okay. So I think I'm getting my time frames confused here. I think the issue I'm having here is that maniple and cohort maybe it's somewhat synonymous. It's just one was in a different era than the other. I'm assuming cohort was during the Empire. So each maniple numbered 120 men and 12 files and 10 ranks. Maniples drew up for battle in 3 lines, each line made up of 10 maniples, and the whole arranged in a checkerboard pattern. Yeah, see, here, this is where I'm getting confused, I believe. So a maniple is Roman Republic. Anyways, so the next morning, your maniple is among the first to move out of the camp and reach the plain right in front of the city. If what your centurion said is true, the garrison of New Carthage consists of a small mercenary army, possibly 1,000 strong, and of course, the city militia. You are taking your place on the battlefield when all of a sudden cries of alarm rise from the ranks. You look ahead with a start. The city gate is wide open. A screaming mass, numbering thousands, leaves the safety of the walls, quickly closing the gap with your partially deployed first line. Judging by their scant equipment, they must be the militia. The enemy commander wouldn't risk his precious mercenaries like this. blood pounding in your ears. You get ready to receive them as your first battle of your life engulfs you. All right. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. So my javelin skill isn't very high, so I'm just going to choose to throw it into the enemy ranks. You decide to play it safe and hurl your javelin in the general direction of the hostile troops. So my throwing check passed. Your javelin disappears in the ranks of the foe. You can't say what damage it caused, if at all, but it must have produced some confusion at least. So that's actually the successful message. If it's unsuccessful, it says something like, actually I think there's two. If it's somewhat unsuccessful, it'll say something like, it was a good throw, but it didn't hit its mark. And if it's really bad, it'll be like, horrible throw, and you'll take a morale loss, and the troops will think less of you. As the other side gets closer and closer, you steel yourself for the incoming fight. All right, and this is the combat. So right now we can choose to javelin or close in. So when I do javelin, I like to change my attitude all the way to aggressive. So right here you can choose defensive, like moderate defensive, balanced, somewhat aggressive, and very aggressive. And you can see down here, it actually changes the probability of hitting. So H is how probable it will hit the enemy, while U is the chance to render the opponent's shield unusable. I didn't even know that. Okay, so yeah, going all the way aggressive increases our chance of hitting them. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna throw it. And again, our enemy is this militiaman over here. Also, some things to notice here. Our health is this red circle. His is the red circle as well. This is our stance, blue circle. So if you miss an attack or they feint, choose to feint, and you get duped by it or whatever, it'll make your stance go down. So a visual would be to think of it as like, full blue means you're steady, holding strong, shield up, ready to fight. Like a half or 3/4, maybe like starting to stagger. Half would maybe be like falling back. All the way down might be on the ground, trying to get back up. And when it's down like that, it, negatively impacts your skills and your skill checks with fighting. And the same thing goes with your enemy. And here you can see his armor. So he has no helmet, no breastplate, no greaves. But he does have a shield and a spear, it looks like. So he's probably going to have reach on us. Can we see? Yeah, weapon reach 4, -2, I believe. Yep. So he has reach on us, but he has no armor. So that means he's pretty much free game. We can hit him anywhere. Anyways, let's do this javelin. Throw, missed. Yep. That's kind of what I thought would happen. So he tried to do a quick feint. It failed. Also, another bar to be aware of is this one down here with the guy leaning on a staff. This is essentially your endurance. It'll fill up with a green as you get more fatigued. I believe there's 3 levels. Once it fills up once, you're officially fatigued, and another time and it's exhausted. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to feint. So let's do the quick feint. So you got your quick, normal, and deft. So quick feint is the most likely to hit, or overall chance of success. Chance of success on the primary attack check. Chance to overcome the opponent's resistance. So you can see here normal is harder to do. I believe normal. Yeah, so I believe quick reduces their stance the least, while deft reduces it the most, and the normal is in between. So like I said, these feints reduce their stance and makes them more vulnerable. So we're going to open with this quick. Actually, I take that back. Let's just go for the torso. We're going to hit him. And we hit him for 7. And he tried to knock us down and failed. So now his stance is down. So let's go for the torso again. And for 14. He recovered his stance. Let's try to knock him down. Ooh, that succeeded. And he tried to recover and it failed. So he's down pretty bad right now. Let's go for his head. That hurt him by 18. It looks like he recovered a little bit and recovered more. Can we knock him down again? It's pretty unlikely. So we're just going to attack his torso. And we hit him for 8. He charged, failed. So let's hit him again. And again, he's almost dead now. And one more time. And I missed. And missing actually hurts your stance. I'm going to go into a defensive stance and try to recover. And that failed. He recovered. I'm going to try to recover again. And I succeeded. He attempted a feint and failed. So I'm going to go back to aggressive and attack again at his torso. And it looks like we killed him. So now we get a second. I'm going to choose this respite. So respite just decreases your fatigue a little bit. That was successful, and it barely did anything. So it looks like we got another militiaman coming up at us. So as you can imagine, this would be in the middle of battle in our cohort. I would like to see more friendlies in the fight. Kind of sucks feeling so alone in combat like this sometimes. But anyways, we're just going to go straight for this guy's torso again. And it looks like we hit him. Sweet. Oh, and he didn't even get a chance to respond. So I'm just going to continue to attack him. That hurt him pretty bad. And he successfully performed a feint on me. So I'm going to choose to recover again. And it failed, and he attacked and missed. I'm going to choose to recover again. I succeeded. He also succeeded. I'm going to move back to aggressive stance and aim for the torso. We're doing good. Okay, the situation is shifting. You won't be able to keep facing the current enemy for much longer. So essentially this is a timed battle. So once it hits a certain amount of rounds, it knows the battle is starting to break up. So after, I think, like 2 or 3 more rounds, he'll just leave if I don't kill him. So I'm just going to go ahead and for the torso again. And I hit him. He missed. Let's hit him again. And I actually got to kill him that time. And it looks like just in time as well. So let's do the respite. Succeeded. Oh, actually there's one more enemy. Just time for another. So let's move back. Recover. I'm not really concerned if I kill this guy. Failed. Eventually the enemy formation starts breaking apart. Very soon, panic spreads as their wavering turns into a rout. Very cool. The Carthaginian militia is in disarray. So we fucked them up pretty good. For a brief moment, you stare at the bodies scattered across the ground. A few legionaries, but the vast majority are militiamen. In the ensuing chaos, you barely have time to think about your first kill. An improvised pursuit is attempted, but your vanguard is stopped at the city gate before it can break in. So it looks like all my checks failed there. The centurion beckons to some of your comrades. After a brief talk, they move away from the maniple. You wonder what is going on. The rest of you will storm the city walls. Many ladders are being propped up against the walls, while a constant shower of missiles is raining down from the battlements. The centurion promised to share a generous portion of his reward should he manage to be the first man over the walls. So here I can choose to help him get over the walls first or stay alive. I'm going to just choose to stay alive. You start climbing alongside the others, trying to protect yourself as best you can. And it looks like my defense check failed. This is a nightmare. No matter how hard you try, you can't protect yourself from everything. Your health is decreased by 4. And not a big deal. The cacophony is unbearable. Cries from both enemies and allies blend with the thuds of stones and smaller projectiles bouncing all around you. Suddenly the noise begins to dwindle and fade. You can't believe what you are seeing. Hundreds of Roman legionaries are running along the top of the wall, coming from the north. How did they get there? Anyhow, the Punics are melting before them, leaving the battlements unguarded. So I think that's the troops that the centurion pulled away earlier. So I'm assuming if you meet that check, maybe you can beat some of those guys up there on the wall. But I did not, so I just get to watch it happen. In the end, your allies reach the gate and open it, letting in the bulk of your legions. Continue. You follow your maniple into the city streets. Your orders are very clear. Secure the city by killing everything that meets you in the open. Hopefully, nobody will be so ill-considered. Excuse me. Your thoughts are interrupted when a small number of militiamen stand in your path. Okay, looks like we're fighting some more militia here. So I'm just going to go defensive and close in. And then move to aggressive. I'm going to go for the torso once again. Ooh, and he grazed my head, but it looks like my armor absorbed it. So that helmet that I just bought came in handy already, I guess. So I like to just go for the torso since it's the easiest to hit. And it does a decent amount of damage. He did a quick feint, but I resisted. So it, hurt my stance just a little bit, but not too much. Let's try a feint on him. So let's do a quick feint as well. That actually succeeded. So then let's attack. We'll go for his head this time. Looks like we hit him for 10. He did recover after that. So let's attack his torso again. And I missed and my stance was hurt. So I'm going to go back to defensive and recover. Death feint failed. Oh, 2 of your comrades joined the fight. So it looks like some of my teammates joined in. So let's move to aggressive. And let's fuck this guy up. That hit him. He missed. Looks like my buddy killed him. Let me get a drink here. You look at the militiaman's lifeless body. Quick thoughts flickering through your mind. Flickering. That was interesting. Let's choose pity. Drafted into service, forced to fight to defend his home. It does ring a bell. You wonder about the people waiting for him at home, never to see him come back. So that increased my virtue by 2. Let's move on. And to be honest, I'm not entirely certain what virtue does. An officer yelling out orders brings you back down to earth with a bump. You move on. You keep marching along the streets, as is custom. Looting is strictly prohibited until the battle is over. So we only have one choice here, to stick to the rules and go ahead to the rally point. Continue. New Carthage is almost conquered, but 500 mercenaries from the garrison are still holding the citadel. The proconsul is looking for volunteers for an assault on this last bastion. He's throwing in more than double loot share. These mercenaries are nothing like the militia you have been facing until now. They may not be the enemy's best troops. They wouldn't have been left here if they were, but they are still professional soldiers. Only the most experienced legionnaires are volunteering. No one would blame you if you backed off. So, I'm just going to go ahead and back off. I don't believe I'm going to win this fight. Essentially, in any of these choice fights, the fight is a lot more difficult. And if I choose to do it, there's a small prize, double the money, but, what does it matter if you're dead? After a brief but intense struggle, the garrison surrenders. Continue. New Carthage has fallen. For the first time in so many years, a change in the tides of war appears within grasp. Your morale is increased by 8, so that's a pretty big boost. You have received your share of the loot, 80 denarii. Your army has obtained an important base of operations. The city's resources will be invaluable for the rest of the campaign. Let's go ahead and continue. So all my fighting skills improved from that. Sword, shield, and javelin have all improved by 5. That's awesome. So we can see here in my deeds now. Killed 2 militiamen and 1 shared militiaman. That was the one where I fought with my buddies. So we're back to the in-between time. So we can do some more training. Do some more workouts. Buy and sell. Leisure. Miscellaneous. Let's go ahead and look at the character stats. Oh yeah. Looks like, yeah, my sword went up from 36 to 41. Shield and javelin are still pretty low, but better. Over here you can see your rank in the Hastati. So in the Republic, the Hastati were the new guys, which makes sense since right now I'm playing as a new guy. And they would have been in the first line of the Legion. Would have been up front. And then behind them would be your Principes, which are kind of your war veterans. And they would have been better armored. And then behind them would have been the Triarii. And the Triarii would have been your most veteran, essentially old men, been fighting for many, many years. And my understanding is generally they would have been using spears rather than swords or the gladius like the rest of the... Or not... Is it gladius? I can't think of the Roman sword. Is it? I don't think it's called a gladius. Roman sword name. Yeah, it is gladius. So yeah, gladius is just that kind of short sword. And this is the kind of base weapon that the Legionnaires would have used. And you have to think, 18 to 27 inches. It's pretty small, but it's the way they used it. So these guys would have been, close order, just really next to each other, shields butted up to each other, shoulder and shoulder in line, and would have used these kind of stabbing or in a hacking motion. It wouldn't be a lot of one-on-one, like fancy Hollywood combat like you would imagine. I mean, these were professional soldiers, and the way they fought was very much, they fought like a machine. Anyways, let's go back. Let's do our training. Javelin practice, good. And it looks like a random event's already happening. Your physical prowess gives you a significant advantage whenever you are sent out to gather fire. This one again. Okay. Cool. So they like me more. Javelin. Let's do sparring since they're past 40. That's good. That's good. Let's exit out of that. And then let's do some workouts. So let's go look at our character sheet again. I check this a lot because I have a bad memory. Can't remember. I know quickness. So let's improve that some more. Workouts. Run. Cool. Do it again. Okay, now we're going to take exercise fatigue after that. We have 149 denarii. Our troops like us all right. Centurion likes us okay, and the proconsul is kind of neutral. Our virtue is slightly above neutral. Let's do have fun. So you lose 10 denarii and 5 morale increase. So morale is high now. Let's play some dice. Play a board game. Hang around. Cool. So our morale is pretty high now. Not very high, but it's decent. Let's do some more training. Looks like that didn't do anything. Random event. A slave bumps into you and falls, dropping his load. So we can kick him for his clumsiness, make sure he's alright, ignore the incident. So I'm just going to choose to ignore. Tell him to pay more attention and walk away as he mumbles an apology. Okay. No harm, no foul. Sword skill increased. Let's take a look at that again. 44. So it looks like we can actually check the character sheet from here. Like I said, I'm pretty new to this game, so I don't know what I'm doing. Let's back out. Okay. I kind of want to wait till we get our first paycheck this time around to buy anything. Let's go ahead and do some guard duty. Didn't help too much. Hang around. Looks like I just got my pay. Inventory, 177. Let's buy and sell. Search. What do we got here? Oh, there we got some greaves. So we don't have any, so I'm not even going to compare. Let's just buy them. Yes, equip. So we got 90 left over. So it doesn't look like that can afford us anything worthwhile. Let's take a look at this helmet. So better coverage for the head. About the same protection. Awareness is worse. Quality is the same. So I don't think this is worth the awareness drop. So we're just going to exit out of that. Let's go ahead and do some. Let's do some workouts. Let's swim. Good. Let's do some more. That didn't do anything. So do some more leisure. Play dice, play a board game. Gaius Agilia, I don't know how the hell to say that. Gaius Agilius was a carpenter before the war. Like everyone else here, he has been away from home for a very long time. He is always complaining that the business he worked for his whole life went to pot because of this. Went to pot? Like taking a shit? Today is speaking ill of the centurion. Let's just choose to let him be. You know, I used to complain about my superiors all the time when I was in the Marine Corps. It's normal. Not a narc. This war has claimed many victims. Not all of them were physically killed. You let Agilius enjoy the little freedom he has left. Virtue increased by 2. Cool. So let's just continue to do leisure. That looks good. We can do some more sparring. That was better. That didn't do anything. Let's do javelin practice. And we'll use our last little bit of time to relax. And now it's time to move on. So our morale is high. Let's see. Our sword is getting better. Our endurance is better. Quickness. Okay, so the quickness took a hit from the Greaves, I believe. Yeah, quickness 4. So that kind of sucks. Oh well. It's over a year since the capture of New Carthage. The Carthaginians have failed to respond properly, hindered by rivalries and lack of cooperation amongst their generals. After winter came and went, Proconsul Scipio sent you on the move once again, marching against the closest enemy army. Led by Hasdrubal Barca, one of Hannibal's brothers, the Carthaginians are holding a high 2-step plateau near the town of Bacula. Hope I said that right. A fine defensive position indeed. Dislodging them from there looks like a rather hopeless task, but the proconsul must know what is clear to everyone. The longer you'll stay here waiting, the higher the risk that the remaining 2 enemy armies will come and crush you. So essentially we have to fight. Continue. The wait is nerve-wracking, and at last comes the dreaded order. The assault begins. Again, I can only imagine what it'd be like in that time to just be watching your enemy from across a field and ready to fight them. Apparently your skirmishers, the Velites, will have to engage the enemy light infantry holding the lower plateau. Picked units of heavy infantry are ordered to support them. So Velites, I believe, are they throwing spears. They might be slingers. Velites. Let's look it up. Light infantry skirmishers. So yeah, you can see them here. Got a little shield and they're throwing spears. 30-inch wooden shaft the diameter of a finger with a 10-inch narrow metal point. So yeah, these guys would just run up, throw their spears, harass the enemy. They would mask movement. So one thing they could use them for is, let's say you need to put one of your cohorts or maniples in a different location and disengage from the enemy. You would use these Velites to essentially harass the enemy front line and keep them occupied while you make those maneuvers. And they could do lots of other things too. Apparently your skirmishers, I think we already read this, picked units of heavy infantry are ordered to support them. That's certainly an unenviable task. With relief, you learn that your maniple will be kept in reserve. The frontal assault is underway when Proconsul Scipio himself takes the lead of half the remaining force. As the Carthaginians are busy repelling your soldiers, he leads you around their position. You are climbing the slope at a fast pace when a small group of Numidian cavalrymen approaches and starts harassing you with their javelins. The terrain is far from propitious for a cavalry attack, but they keep pressing you. And I'm learning all kinds of new words and names today. Okay, so we can choose to throw a javelin at them or keep marching. Let's go ahead and throw a javelin. Take aim at one of the closest horsemen. Your throw is wide off the mark. Now he can easily pick you off and counterattack. You are hit. Your health is... Wow. Okay, so that's the worst I've ever gotten in that one. At last, they recall their attack and ride away. As you reach the plateau... Oh, whoops. Looks like Hasdrubal has sent reinforcements to his first line, but they are only partially deployed and clearly not expecting you. You charge the nearest group into the flank. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. Let's just throw it into the ranks. So we throw it, and it met the check, luckily. As the other side gets closer and closer, you steel yourself for the incoming fight. So here we are, Libyan Spearmen, and it looks like we got a fellow Legionary. I'm going to go defensive and close in. And I'm going to take another drink here. Okay. Let's see what we can do. So we do not have much chance to actually hit them. Wow. Oh, it's because I'm in defensive. So if we go even with full offensive, what about feints, shield, soft spot? So this guy has full armor, so we can use a soft spot. So essentially the soft spot, it's a little bit harder to do. It's just like attack, but it has a chance to bypass that piece of armor. Well, I'm really not sure what I want to do here. I'm going to sit in defense. I'm just going to... So if we attack and miss, which is likely with this, it's going to hurt our stance. But if we do a feint and miss, it's not. So let's do a feint. It failed, understandably. And it looks like everyone failed that round. So let's try attacking. Oh man, really don't have much chance of actually hitting him. Let's just go for it. Oh, and we actually got him there. And it looks like he ran a feint against me and failed. So I'm going to move back and recover. And it failed. I find those recoveries fail a lot, even if it says high chance. Don't really know why. So he keeps attacking and missing. So we could try another feint and make his stance even worse. We could try a knock, although it's not likely to hit. Let's go ahead and just attack his torso. Try to inflict some damage. So it looked like we both hit, but his armor absorbed most of it. So it didn't do a whole lot of damage, but he's hurt. So I'm going to just continue to attack him. I just don't feel like my character is apt enough at this point to be doing soft spot attacks. Actually, soft spot torso is more likely now. Let's go ahead and try it. And we missed, and our stance is hurt. He recovered. Let's go ahead and recover as well. Cover succeeded. Everyone's recovered. Let's see if we can hit him again. Torso. And I failed again. Oh, God. And it looks like he hit my buddy right in the balls. That fucking sucks. I really would like... His stance is down, but mine is as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stand back and recover. Alright, that succeeded. For some reason, he charged him and failed. Let's see. Let's try knock. You never know. Okay, that failed. Let's go ahead and recover again. Yeah, these battles can really drag out sometimes. I think there's some things that could do better. So his stance is pretty awful right now. Let's try knock again. Let's get him on the ground. Wow, and that still failed. Okay, so his stance is all the way down now. So I'm going to actually recover even though he's down. So my teammate just hit him for 13. He recovered a little bit. We're going to go for a soft spot attack in the torso. I barely hit him. Looks like his armor got most of that, despite using the soft spot attack. And this time I'm going to do soft spot to the head. And apparently it didn't do anything. Doesn't seem like that soft spot attack is helping much. So I guess we'll just chip away at him. Alright, looks like we got him. It looks like the battle is starting to shift as well. So So I got a moment to take a rest. I'm getting tired. Recovered. New enemy hit my buddy. Let's see what we can do here. Another Libyan spearman. I am just going to move back. I'm going to take another rest. Because I think this battle's going to end soon anyways. Looks like he hit me, but my armor absorbed it. So that's good. And I'm going to rest again. I believe if you're in defensive for, I want to say 3 rounds, you start to lose morale. So let's go ahead and move up and attempt to attack his torso. And I missed, of course. And it looks like the enemy formation broke. So that's going to end that combat sequence. Attacked from all sides, the Carthaginian line is collapsing. Many are taken prisoner, but in the meantime, the bulk of Hasdrubal's force manages to escape. At last, you are ordered to plunder the enemy camp. You set the task with renewed enthusiasm. Your morale has increased by 5. Continue. The enemy camp is a bit of a disappointment. It looks like the Carthaginians were able to take most of their valuables with them when they retreated. So we're going to stay with the larger group. While searching, your squad bumps into a small group of men and women. There are a dozen of so, some rather young. They look and sound like Celtiberians, probably slaves captured by the Carthaginians during their recent campaigns. They must have been left behind when the enemy retreated. You must be careful, for they have even managed to find weapons. Celtiberians. So Celtics, I believe, are from the English Isles, while the word Iberian refers to people from the Spanish Portuguese peninsula, or the Iberian Peninsula. I'm going to look that up, actually. Celt Iberians. Curious what that... A group of Celts and Celticized peoples inhabiting the central eastern Iberian Peninsula during the final centuries BC. They were explicitly mentioned as being Celts by several classes authors. Strabo. These tribes spoke the Celt-Iberian language and wrote it by adapting the Iberian alphabet. It's interesting. So essentially they're Celtic people who immigrated down to the Iberian Peninsula. And then obviously the Carthaginians, if you didn't know, originated in northern Africa. So think like Tunis, Tunisia, that area. And then their empire expanded most of North Africa and I believe parts of Iberia before Rome took it back from them. Anyways, the tension rises partly because of language difficulties, partly because they're afraid of being made prisoners again. Many of them are holding their weapons awkwardly. Should it come to violence, there's only one way this is going to end. Situation is escalating. If you want to do something, now is the time. So we can do a virtue check and step in to prevent a slaughter or let things run their course. I chose to step in to prevent every time, and it hasn't worked once because I don't think I ever have quite the virtue for it at this point in the game. But I want to choose that again. Oh, so it actually looks like I passed the check. Helping yourself with a little Iberian you've learned during your stay, assuming that at least some of these people can understand it, you managed to quiet things down. So that actually increased the troop opinion of me. At last, the slaves lay down their weapons and turned themselves in, and it increased my virtue. There's little more you can accomplish here. Continue. Hasdrubal is heading north, intent on crossing the Pyrenees with the remnants of his army. The proconsul refused to pursue him, and many of the troops are frustrated with his decision. But you are glad he came to this decision. Following Hasdrubal now, with 2 more armies behind you, could be a prelude to disaster. It would jeopardize all the efforts you've made in the last 2 years. Carthaginians you captured are sold into slavery, and the revenue is shared among the troops. Scipio orders the Celtiberian prisoners to be released. This will help secure more alliances with the local tribes. And it looks like I gained 30 denarii. Among them, the slaves you rescued and abandoned a camp. And it looks like that actually increased the proconsul's opinion of me. Continue. And my skills improved by 4. All right. And that concludes that second battle. So here we are in part 3. So we got some time to train, work out, buy, sell, leisure, miscellaneous. I'm actually just going to take a break here. Let's Alt-Tab 2. Okay. We are back. So again, just concluded the second battle, starting part 3. So we're going to get our training out of the way. Javelin, got our pay, javelin. Whoops, I did not mean to do solo. Your physical prowess gives you firewood again. Okay. Apparently my guy just collects a lot of firewood all day. We're going to do sparring. Progress is slowing down. Means I'm going to probably start needing to do the next level of sparring. Let's do our run and another run. And we have 157 denarii here. So let's go ahead and see what we can buy. New gladius, some better chainmail. That's pretty expensive. Another helmet. Not sure if any of these things are better than what I have already. Let's take a look at this. 10 to 14 opposed to 5 to 12, 36, 58, 2 reach. This one is better. It's pretty cheap, so let's buy it. Replace, and we'll sell the old one. Get out of that, get out of that. Let's do some leisure. We'll have fun. Morale is increased. We'll just do a bunch of these. See what happens. Find that the idea of this game is pretty interesting. Just choosing to, live the life of a legionary. But I wish there was more to it, because just clicking these selection screens get kind of boring. It's not incredibly exciting. Looks like I got paid again. It'd be interesting if this was like 3D, like you could walk around the camp and do this stuff. But overall, I think this game is pretty fun and unique. So we're just gonna get rid of that exercise stress. This winter is especially harsh. Without proper equipment, you'll have a hard time dealing with it. So we can buy some winter gear or don't buy anything. Let's buy some winter gear. You'll be far from comfortable, but at least you should be spared the worst. So I spent 25 denarii. So I still got 87. That's good. Let's do some more guard duty. So the troops like me quite a bit. Centurion, a little bit. And the proconsul's still mostly neutral. My morale is pretty high. I'm going to do some more leisure time. You are escorting an ambassador of Scipio's to a meeting with a local chieftain. The talks are not going well. Palpable tension is growing. It's not my place to say nothing. Suddenly, one of the warriors accompanying the chieftain rests his hand on the hilt of his sword. I will stay still. The ambassador manages to cool the situation down. The talk goes on, but no satisfactory conclusion is reached. So I imagine if I would have put my hand on the sword, it probably would have ended in blood there. So it seems like I made the right choice. Although this game is super random in that it could have really gone either way. I may get that check again and may do the same thing, and it ended in a bloodbath and me dead. It's actually a decent run this time. So let's do some more sparring training. So I don't think that's helping anymore. So, yep, we're doing sparring good now, it looks like. So, yep, that is helping. And then we're going to just get rid of that stress. Play some more board games, hang around. It's all good. Let's look at our character stats. You can see our sword is getting quite a bit better. Shield is up to 40 and javelin's at 43 now. Our quickness is up to 52. So we're getting better. We're definitely getting better. We're still a Hastati. No rank. Let's just do one more leisure activity. Increase our morale. So, third battle. When your third Spring in this land is so far away from home comes. Rome is in control of most of eastern Hispania. Hispania or Hispania? I'm not sure. Your progress has been admirable, but the war is still far from over. The departure of Hasdrubal Barca and the remnants of his army brought some relief, but the Carthaginians have not been sitting around this time. According to the latest reports from the west, a new general named Hanno is raising an army, recruiting Celtiberian volunteers after bringing reinforcements from his homeland. Your legion is attached to a 10,000-strong army under the orders of M. Silanus, one of Scipia's legates, and sent west to cope with this new threat. Continue. Time is of the essence, and your forced march is almost beyond tolerable limits. With the valuable help of some Celtiberian deserters, you eventually come close to the enemy position. When news of what's ahead of you starts spreading, you learn that there are two enemy camps, one composed of Celtiberian volunteers and the other of Carthaginians. Now, I can only imagine the forced marches as a Roman legionary. I mentioned before in the podcast how I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. And I was just in columns. I didn't do, I wasn't a grunt. I didn't hike as much as most grunts probably do. But, we did a fair bit of hiking. And, I've done a few, 10-mile hikes, stuff like that. And generally our pack would probably be between 40 and 80 pounds. And it was pretty brutal. I think Marine Corps standard was 5 miles per hour. Sustained pace with, a break every hour or 2 hours or something like that. Anyways, just imagining doing hike, because these Roman legionaries, obviously they didn't have vehicles back then. So you had to be an amazing hiker. And you would be carrying these, probably 100 pounds of heavy, heavy equipment. Metal, your shield, your sword, your pilas. The pilas are the throwing spears that the Roman legionaries carried. Your bed gear, your clothes, your armor. I mean, just, you can imagine how fast that adds up. Probably well over 100 pounds. In fact, we could probably look that up. How much did Roman legionary gear weigh? Can't spell today. 45 kilograms, so 66 pounds. 66 to 100. I wonder if that's including their armor. Full loaded consists of body armor, a gladius, a scrotum, and 2 pilum. This gear weighed upwards of 44 pounds. Carried rations and other tools needed to serve. Either way, it's super fucking heavy. And you can imagine these guys are, marching every single day because, like I mentioned, this is pre-vehicle. I'm sure they had horses and carts, mules and carts carrying various equipment, but a majority of their stuff is being carried on their back. And that's one reason Rome was so well known for their road network, is because these legions would lay these roads down as they go. So in the future, it would speed up their marching. So the Roman period saw an expansive network of roads across all of Europe and Northern Africa and the Middle East. Okay, anyways, moving on. The first one seems to be much less defended and an ideal point of attack, but Silanus wants to play it safe and is preparing more scouting teams. So here you can volunteer to scout or stay behind. Again, I like to play it safe. I don't like to take any unnecessary risks just because it's very easy to die in this game. So stay behind. Hours later, the scouts come back and confirm the situation. Everything is ready now. It's time to approach the enemy camp and get prepared for the onslaught. Continue. The regular ground offers plenty of cover as your army approaches the Celtiberian camp. You are not very distant when it finally comes into sight. After a minute, defenders start pouring out of the camp. You've caught them by surprise. Your morale is increased by 3. Perfect. You cross the difficult ground without incident. When you draw near, they try to hinder you by flinging their spears, but your shields form an impenetrable wall. They know they are outnumbered, yet they stand there to meet your advance. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. So let's actually pick off a specific target and throw it this time. You take aim, throw it, and not a bad throw, but it misses its intended target. Okay. As the other side gets closer and closer, you steel yourself for the incoming fight. All right, here we are. So let's go ahead and move into aggressive and throw that javelin. And we actually hit him right in the groin. Fucking spear to the balls. I can imagine that's quite painful. So he did hit me as well. He's wearing a helmet, but no plates or leg armor. I'm going to aim for his torso like normal. And we hit him. He missed. And just aim for the torso again. Again, hit. Tried to recover and failed. And we made pretty quick work of him. We'll take this moment to rest. And we have another inexperienced Scutarius. So let's take a look here. It's got a pretty good chance of hitting him. We could try feigning. We don't really need to do any soft spots. I don't want to knock. So I'm just going to go for the torso like I normally do. And he attacked and missed. I'm going to move back and recover. And that failed. He succeeded. I'm going to recover again. I succeeded that time. He attacked and missed. So I'm going to move in. And I am going to aim for his head this time. Wow, that did a lot of damage. So you can imagine I hit him pretty good in the head. Just kind of weird. I don't know how that works. Imagine if you get hit in the head with a sword, you're probably going to be pretty fucked up. So let's move back and recover again. Succeeded, recover, succeeded. So we both recovered. I'm going to go for the torso. And I miss like an idiot. And he misses also like an idiot. I'm just going to press the attack even though my stance is slightly down. And again, I missed. We're going to go ahead and recover here. And let's move up and attack. Did some pretty good damage there. Let's attack again. And I keep missing. Like, holy shit. I've missed several times now. It hit me with that knock. I'm just going to recover to full this time. Or try to. Looks like he recovered too. Let's go ahead and go for the torso again. And again, I fucking miss. Holy shit. Apparently my guy is retarded. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Apparently my guy can't hit for shit. So let's go ahead and move up. And torso attack. I hit him. He misses. Go for the same thing. And we kill him that time. Awesome. I'm going to move back. Take a rest. Succeeded. As a brief lull in the fighting allows for it, your Centurion gives a signal to rotate. The line behind yours moves forward while you orderly fall back to the rear. So essentially what happened there is part of the way the Legionaries would fight is the men in the very, very front rank of the maniple would fight for a couple minutes, and then as they get tired, the Centurion would blow a whistle, and that would be those men's cue to fall back and the ones behind them to move up. So this way the Romans had a constant stream of fresh legionaries at the front. And it's these small tactics like this that the Romans used, like the close order combat, shield to shield, stab and hack, and this rotation during fighting that just allowed them to really dominate on the battlefield. Especially most of the civilizations they were fighting, they didn't have this organization in their armies. They were warrior races. It's a good example of the distinction between a soldier and a warrior. So the Romans were definitely soldiers, while a lot of the people they fought were more warrior-like. Okay, so it looks like it's our turn to get up to the front again. So we're going to stay in a defensive stance and close in. And we're pretty hurt, but we're going to go ahead and attack. So we hit him pretty good. And he hit us, but it hit our helmet. I'm going to hit again. It looks like that hit his armor. I was not paying attention and did not realize that he's actually wearing a breastplate. So he doesn't have any greaves on, so we're going to go for his legs. And that increases his hitting arms or legs increases their fatigue by quite a lot. So if you weren't paying attention, that just jumped up a ton. So I'm going to go for, he is wearing a helmet. Let's go for the torso again, even though it, oh, and I missed. Looks like he hit my head, but again, my helmet protected me. So we're going to recover there. He attacked and missed. And we're going to go for the legs again. And I missed. He recovers, fails, I recover, succeed. And I get another turn. We're just going to press that attack on the legs. Again, we hit him. Even more fatigued. We're going to continue to hit him. Oh, wow. And it looks like he just went a full turn on his fatigue. So now he is considered fatigued and he's pretty badly hurt as well. We're going to continue to hack at his legs. So we actually just kill him there, and we're going to back off and take a rest. It looks like we got another one. Let's see what our chances here are. Again, he's wearing some armor. I want to let this guy attack first. So we're going to take a rest. And it failed. That's fine. Looks like we got another turn. So I'm going to just take another rest. That time it worked. He did a quick feint and failed. He's going to move in and hit his chest. And I missed. And it looks like he hit me right in the balls. So we're going to recover. Succeeded. He attacked. Missed. We're going to rest. I'm going to just try to run this battle out now because I'm pretty badly hurt and we're getting near the end of it, I believe. So he successfully feinted me. I'm going to try to recover. We succeeded. And yeah, we get that situation shifting message already. So yeah, I just took a morale hit because I'm still sitting back after 3 or 4 rounds. That's fine. We're just going to continue to do this. I have no desire to engage because we've already killed 2 and this guy is most likely going to win if we continue to aggressively attack him. And yep, just like that, the enemy formation broke apart. So that was pretty successful. What remains of the enemy scatters before your advance. Continue. Straight after you repelled the first wave, units of Libyan light infantry fall upon you. Oh, okay, so apparently we have more fighting to do, which I did not realize. I may die this round. So I'm going to take a moderate stance. I'm going to do a quick feint. Kind of a Hail Mary. Ooh, yeah, and I just took a lot of damage. So I'm going to rest here. This guy I may die here. I actually hit him from a defensive stance. I missed there. I'm going to just remain in this defensive stance. If he hits me even once, I'm going to die. So yeah, I hit him a couple times, actually. Not too bad. Not too bad. I recover. He recovers. He attacks and misses. We're going to attack. I'm taking morale loss here, as you can see, but I really don't feel like it's safe to move up in the situation I am in. I actually killed him right there, so we get a moment of rest. Another one moves in, attacks, misses. I'm going to take another rest. So again, I'm going to try to just wait this out. Ugh, this is scary. We're literally hanging on by the edge of our seat right now. We're so close to dying. So I'm going to continue to rest. Yep, the situation is changing. Taking huge morale losses. You know, that's fine. I'm just trying to stay alive at this point. He misses again. And it looks like that ended, but they continue to hold their ground. Many of you are growing tired. As soon as the enemy gives you a break, you fall back and let the more experienced Principes take over. They make short work of the light infantry. Now the way ahead is clear. Your army occupies the first camp and captures Hanno himself. Meanwhile, the Carthaginians have left the other base, withdrawing to the safety of their cities in the west. It may look like a small victory, but your early intervention prevented a far greater danger from arising. Improved morale by 5. So I actually have very high morale, despite all the morale loss from earlier. And it looks like all my skills improved by 2. And also my deeds have improved them even more. And it looks like I got an award. Your battle prowess is rewarded with a bronze armia. I think that's how you say that. In recognition of your efforts and achievements, you have been promoted to Tesserarius. Okay. So a Tesserarius, I think is like an NCO. I'm unfamiliar. So let's look that up. Tesserarius. So a Tesserarius was a watch commander in the Roman army. They organized and had command over the knightly guard, assigned to keep watch over the fort when in garrison or on campaign, and responsible for getting the watchwords from the commander and seeing that they were kept safe. So you're just a watch guard. Watch NCO. Fire watch NCO. It's the most dreaded position. Okay. So that part ended. We're here. So we can see here our sword, shield, and javelin skills have gotten better. Pretty low health. Let's go ahead and do some leisure. Got some pay. I'm wounded, so my morale goes down. Okay. Morale is decreased again. You are put in charge of a small forage party and sent out to collect supplies. Wow. So I have never ever done this before. I don't even know what I'm doing here. So it looks like... Let's do the question mark. Collect supplies. Whoops. You have to do this before the time runs out. Each different tile type has its own movement costs. Risk of ambush. You'll find supplies in some tiles. They are in a circle containing a sack of grain. The fuller the circle, the more resources are present. Keep in mind that you shouldn't waste time collecting supplies where they are in low quantity. You always find significant amounts of supplies in settlements, although random events may happen when you attempt to rob the locals of their hard-earned resources. The more your senior officers dislike you, the higher the chance of being sent to scanty resource areas. You can click on the map and drag to look around. While settlements are usually the best place to aim for, there are additional supplies you can find as you travel across the area. Plain tiles with a large quantity of supplies are usually surrounded by tiles with smaller amounts. So I guess let's look around. So I think that's a village right there in the middle of the screen. So I suppose we'll just move up to these villages. Collect. 9.7. Sure. And there's an ambush risk meter there. So let's go ahead and go up to the village. We do have some. You have not found many supplies here. You expect a lot more. This is certainly suspicious. I don't really want to press because I feel like it's going to cause an engagement with the local population there. So we do have some supplies collected now. Collected more there. And we'll collect some there. Let's not walk on those mountain tiles if we can. So we have quite a bit now, it looks like. Find a good brook with a good fishing spot. Sure. You prove to be a skilled fisherman. Between you and your men, you leave the brook with plenty of food. You have found enough supplies. So do we just... I guess we go back to the flag down here. Like I said, this is the first time I've even done this. You've completed your mission to everyone's satisfaction. So the Centurion likes me more, the troops like me more, and my morale has increased. So awareness and intellect has increased as well. Cool. That's pretty neat. Let's see. So our intellect is 50 now, 59, and awareness is 48. So it looks like that improved quite a bit. I would like to improve Constitution, because Constitution affects your health. I'm I'm not entirely certain how to improve Constitution. I guess the gym. And this is day of intensive drills. The Centurions and their options, not sure how to say that, are hard-pressed to make the maniple execute a complex maneuver. It involves wheeling to the left, a rotation to the right to advance as a column, then wheeling to the left once more to form a battle line. Half the times you are asked to do the opposite. I can step in and see if you can help or leave them to do their job. Let's step in. What kind of approach will you take? It'd be harsh or assertive. Let's be assertive. So it looks like we got the charisma and awareness check. It takes a long effort, but as the day progresses, the maneuver gets smoother and smoother. So it looks like the Centurion likes me more now, and that sharpened my awareness and intellect as well. So let's go ahead. Oh, I'm just going to go back there. So awareness went up 1, and our intellect, I think, went up at 1 as well. So I'm going to continue to do the gym because I want to improve that constitution. Let's do our sparring practice. You are so well liked, you'll always be able to find a worthy sparring partner. So people like me a lot, apparently. Epideios is boasting about his wrestling skills like he usually does. He asks if there's anyone who'd like to challenge him today. He is no taller than average, but he's built like a boar. I'm pretty strong, so I'm going to rise to the challenge. Cretonius will act as a referee. The rules are simple. Every time your opponent falls on his back or side, steps out of the square, or gives up, you score a point. You score 3 points, you win. Punches, kicks, and bites are forbidden. You are at the center of the square, ready to start. So we can push him out of the square straight away, try with a standard grip, use our speed and wits to wear him down. I don't think I'm too quick. I'm pretty strong, so let's just go. So I didn't meet the strength check. Your effort is in vain. He quickly gains upper hand and pushes you out of the square. That sucks. Let's just try with a standard grip. So we grab hold of each other. Suddenly attempts to lift you. You try to hold on, but he's too strong. The point is Epideios as he lifts you and casts you upon the ground. So he won again. So let's try speed and wits this time. He grabs you. Resist. You can't break free. He pushes you down and starts choking you. Try to turn him over. And it looks like I got that check. So I got a point. It looks like I got him out. I accidentally skipped and didn't read. Actually, I think we can read. You grip his arm and overturn him, lying on the ground. Epideios stares at the sky for a moment, shakes his head with an incredulous look. So I got a point there. Cool. Oh, man. What should we do? Let's go with standard grip again. So it looks like it threw me on the ground, and I lost. There was no contest, so the spectators are snickering at you. So they like me less. I lost some morale. That's fine. Whatever. Increase that sword skill. Another one. Something is causing a stir through the camp. Actually, you are sure you've heard a cheer of jubilation when you find out. Big news from Rome. Hasdrubal Barca's army, which crossed the Pyrenees last year after escaping you, was finally intercepted in Italia by 2 consular armies before he could join his brother Hannibal further to the south. His army was annihilated near the river Metaurus, and Hasdrubal himself died fighting alongside his men. Hannibal is isolated now, and Rome has never been so safe since he crossed the Alps. When you embarked 3 years ago, all this seemed next to impossible. The revelry goes on for a long time. Morale increase. Cool. So it looks like we're beating back Carthaginians finally. Carthaginians. Can't talk. We have a bit of money. Let's do some leisure. Hang around, play some dice, play a board game. And let's go ahead and buy and sell. Let's see what we can get here. We've got 143 back in breastplate, a different gladius, some greaves, chainmail. That's pretty expensive. Let's take a look at this. So this covers more, better protection, better quality material. Now let's go ahead and buy that. And yes, we will replace. I'm just going to head and move that there and sell for 12. So we have 25 denarii now. Pretty low. Let's do some more gym workouts. I want to get that constitution up. Yeah, it looks like I just got paid. We'll do some more leisure. We'll have fun. Play a board game. Play some dice. Do some sparring. Not getting any better, it says. Do some more gym. Constitution. Do some more leisure. Hang around. Do some dice. So my morale is really high. My virtue is decent. Troops really like me. Centurion thinks I'm alright. Proconsul's still pretty neutral. I want to check out my deeds real quick here. There we can see that award. I've killed quite a few people now, actually. This is definitely the best run I've had in this game. So, let's do one more workout. See what our constitution is. Okay, so it looks like we increased by 5. We'll finish with one more leisure activity. Alright, so that's the end of that one. Move on. Hasdrubal Gisco and Mago Barca, Hannibal's youngest brother, are leading the remaining armies of Carthage in this theater. They have joined forces set on dealing with you once and for all. Scipio himself leads whatever forces he has at his disposal to face them. The legions and the Italic ally, of course, but also a large number of native allies. You don't like the rumors you've been hearing. It seems the enemy outnumbers you by a fair margin. When you come in sight of the Punic camp near the town of Ilipa, you can see for yourself the reports were not overblown. Okay. And we'll continue there. Your army is busy building its camp across the broad plain that separates you from the Carthaginians. A large cavalry host comes forward from the other side, trying to take you by surprise. To their dismay, they find out that Scipio hid his own cavalry behind a hill. The sudden counterattack stalls the assailants for a while, but the fight is in the balance. Soon your maniple is sent out to back your horsemen up. Okay. Your cavalry has been slowly taking ground thanks to your support. As yet another charge brings chaos to both sides, a Numidian rides in front of your ranks with a clear intent to provoke an attack. These horsemen are considered among the best in the world. They were key to many of Hannibal's victories in the early years of the war, and all your compatriots who have met them on the battlefield have learned to respect them. So I can come forward and meet them in single combat, or don't leave the safety of formation. So number 2 makes it sound like you're being a pussy, but I'm going to choose that because, like I had said earlier, Romans were soldiers, not warriors first. Soldiers first, not warriors. So to come forward and meet them in single combat wouldn't make sense. You're risking the safety of your fellow legionnaires to your left and right, and it's just a bad example and doesn't show discipline like you would have shown as a good Roman legionary. You stay behind the shield wall. He throws a javelin at the line, but is forced to retreat when a squadron of Italic cavalry approaches. The skirmish goes on for a long time, but in the end, the Carthaginians have to give up and ride back to their camp. Nothing else relevant happens for the rest of the day. Continue. The day has come. The voices of officers giving orders and the sound of marching feet fill the air as your column leaves the camp. All your efforts over the last 4 years are at stake today. Your maniple takes its position on the battlefield. If you fail here, this vast plain is the last place you'll ever see. The legions of Rome and the Italic ally are in the center. Your local allies, like troops on the wings. When the dust settles, you see the distant enemies. Hasdrubal Gisco adopted a similar approach. With his heavy infantry in front of you, his elephants stand like towers in front of his Hispanian allies on the wings. Now, I can only imagine what it'd be like to be looking up at people riding on little elephants. It can only be terrifying, probably. Although at this point, my character is pretty battle-hardened, so I would imagine... I'd picture it'd still be pretty scary to him. But, you know, he's more... Well, a little more experienced than at the beginning. I want to say, though, elephants are difficult to control or would have been difficult to control as well as easily frighten. So I don't know if they would be super effective other than a fear tactic. You wait in silence. You have to trust your fellow soldiers. If at any point they panic and break formation, then all is lost. No matter what you do, you try not to dwell on it. The wait seems to go on forever. Minutes pass, then hours. Neither general gives the signal to advance. As the sunset approaches, you see a motion ripple through the enemy front. They are not advancing, though. They're going back to their camp. Soon after, the same order is given to you. You march back with a mix of relief and frustration. I can only imagine the tension. The following day, the scene repeats itself, and the day after that, and so on for several days. The Carthaginians are always deployed first, their heavy infantry in the center, and you follow soon after, mirroring their arrangement. I lost an intelligence check. This endless back and forth is eating your nerves. Your morale is decreased by 3. So I imagine if you pass the intelligence check, it's probably something like, oh, you understand the tactics being used or something. Then one morning you are all awakened sooner than usual. The order is to have breakfast and prepare to march out. Something is off with the position of your legion in the outgoing column. You'll end up on a wing rather than the center. So one interesting thing, my understanding about ancient warfare during this time and even before that and probably for several hundred years after was a lot of it was stance, posing, intimidation. So often battles would, there'd be a considerable amount of time where generals would position their armies and maneuver around each other and probe for weaknesses with skirmishers and, light cavalry and infantry. Generally, battle wouldn't be committed unless one side, slipped up and the other took advantage, or either general or both were confident in their position. And generally, when battle did happen, from what I understand, is it wouldn't last too long. Sometimes minutes, maybe even hours, but it generally wouldn't be very long. It would happen. A handful of people would be injured and die. I don't think most of the troops wouldn't actually die in the battle. Generally, the highest casualties would come after the battle. So one army would break and usually flee, and then as that army broke, the attacking or victorious army would run them down and essentially cut them down and murder them as they ran away from the battlefield. And that's how casualties were inflicted. So a lot of it was, imagine like peacocks, fanning their feathers and posing and trying to look big. And then the actual fighting would be short and very deadly, and then afterwards would be extremely deadly. Anyways, your cavalry and skirmishers are harassing the Punic camp, forcing Hasdrubal Gisco to respond and deploy in a hurry. Both armies are fully positioned. The dust is not settled yet, but you are quite sure you're facing the enemy light infantry now, rather than their elite heavy troops. This time there will be no turning back. So it looks like we're actually going to fight now. Scipio himself takes command of your wing. You wheel to the right, then turn left. Your 3 lines have become columns. You flawlessly execute the complex maneuver. The endless drills are bearing fruit. So I guess that's the fruit of that drill that we had ran earlier that I had helped in. As a column, you can advance much faster than usual. You see that the other wing on the left, also made of heavy footmen, is doing the same. The line formed by your Hispanian allies in the center is moving forward at a slower pace. You are now close enough to the Carthaginian left wing. You wheel to the right once more, then turn and face them in your usual formation. You have been too fast for them to react properly. So you kind of caught them with their pants down there. Their elephants are being driven away by your skirmishers. So again, like I said, elephants, definitely fear tactic. So these skirmishers would have been throwing all kinds of stuff at them, and I'm not sure the elephants would like that too much. At last, you are ordered to advance. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. So let's pick a specific target. We aim, we throw, we miss. Get closer, and we're going to go into combat now. Just going to get into that aggressive stance and throw our javelin. And it hits and kills him. Wow. Let's get to defensive. I've never done that with a javelin before. That was impressive. So he's still dead and nothing's happening. Looks like we got another one coming up. He fainted. And he has no breastplate or greaves, so we're just going to go straight for the chest. And we miss. He attacks and misses as well. Going to recover. Good recovery. We're going to press that attack. I'm going to go for the torso again. Yeah, we get him pretty good. And he misses again. We hit. So we're just slicing him up. We're just going to continue to press this attack. And he continues to suck. Alright, so we killed him. We're going to back off, take a rest. And it looks like our rest failed. He attacked and missed. I'm going to press our attack on this guy as well. And it looks like he actually hit me that time. I'm going to continue to attack despite getting hit. Looks like we resisted his feint. And we killed him. We're going to back off and recover that little bit of stance there. And I'm going to just attack him from defensive stance for now. Just kind of play a little safer. We've already killed 2. And it looks like he hit, but it was absorbed by our armor. That's good. I'm going to continue to slash at his torso. And we're going to go to a moderate stance and just attack. It looks like this situation is shifting now. I'm going to go defensive, take a rest. And another one takes the last one's place. We're going to press the attack on this guy as well. Looks like we missed and staggered a little bit. So you can imagine there, those misses and the recovery going down is us staggering as we're missing that swing or that stab. So I'm going to just take a balanced stance and continue to... So it looks like we're rotating. Rotating out, rotating back in. I'm going to stay in this middle stance and move in. Quick feint, not super effective. I'm just going to slash at him. He missed. Let's go aggressive and go for his torso. So we just did some pretty good damage there. He did a feint, missed. Let's go for his groin. See what the... So fatigue costs 3, damage 1.2, attacker's stance is reduced. So what's the difference between groin and... I'm not really sure if there's any difference at all. 1. So damage is a little more to the groin. So yeah, I just killed him. Alright, let's move back and recover that little bit of stance. Got some time to rest. So we're doing pretty good here. Went for a soft spot, missed. I'm going to go aggressive. I'm going to go for that groin again. Again, pretty good damage. He failed to recover. Fail again. I'm going to continue to hack at his groin. Just cutting at this guy's balls. And it looks like he did hit me in the arm there. This time I'm going to go for his torso. And I kill him. Let's move back. Take a rest. He missed. Let's go for a head. Or let's see what the... So 1.5 for head. Is neck more? Neck is 2. So yeah, let's go ahead. And I missed, actually. So I'm going to recover there. He managed to recover as well. I'm going to take a quick rest. I'm going to let him take the first stab here. He failed. Failed to feint. And he attacked again and missed. So I think I'm going to actually do a feint on him. Yeah, and we bring that down some more. And he recovered. That sucks. I'm not going to bother with feinting again. So the feints take up a lot of fatigue, which kind of sucks. So let's just hack at his head. Looks like his armor absorbed some of that head attack. I forgot he was wearing a helmet, frankly. He missed my neck. And I managed to kill him again. Just going to move back. Take that rest again. Succeeded. So again, we have another one. We resisted, but still took some stance damage. Again, feint. Failed. He failed. We're going to continue to recover. And they continue to hold. Despite me killing like 3 of them. You have weakened them enough, pinned down by your Hispanian allies in the center, that African infantry can't come to the aid of these centrati. There's no reason to expose yourselves more than necessary, so you are ordered to step back and let the Principes take over. Very soon the wings of the Punic front start to collapse, forcing the unprotected center to follow. So it sounds like the Principes, our veterans, took over and cut them down. And Drubal Gisco manages to rally what he can of his fleeing army and forms a new defensive line on the hill close to his camp. He has lost too many troops, however, and the morale must be shaky at best. Your army is waiting at the bottom of the hill. When the signal to attack comes through, you fairly outnumber the Punics now. This won't take long. The enemy is weak, and there's no reason to put your life at risk. Few would notice if you held back a little. So I can choose to hold back or fight and don't spare yourself. I think if I hold back, there's no negative. I mean, there might be, but I don't believe there is. If I fight and spare myself, like I said, I can continue to fight and risk dying, or I'm just going to hold back. The battle's all but won. There's no need to take unnecessary risks here. You stay behind the shields of your fellow legionaries for the brief duration of the struggle. Your virtue is decreased by 2. So I did take a virtue loss. Not a big deal. The disheartened Carthaginians gave way after a brief clash, but your chase is nipped in the bud when a sudden downpour overwhelms the battlefield. There's no choice but to go back to the camp. Soon, some of the soldiers are wondering out loud why the gods are protecting the Punics. Make it back at last, you need all the rest you can get. Most of their local allies deserted the Carthaginians soon after the battle. As Drubal Gisco and the remainder of his army fled during the night, Scipio leads you in pursuit. They are close to the sea when you finally entrap them. What follows is nothing more than butchery. Your maniple isn't even involved as the outnumbered Punics are slaughtered. A few thousand evade the bloodbath. You entrench themselves on the top of the nearby hills. You lay siege to them and wait. They won't last long without water. When they surrender, there's no trace of Hasdrubal and Mago. They made their escape, but it matters little. It is over. Carthage's presence in Hispania is all but obliterated. Morale increase. So I got a bunch of skill increases for my deeds, and it looks like I got another award, Silver Armia. Your outstanding battle prowess is rewarded. A few months later, the last fortress of Gades surrenders without a fight. When you arrived 4 years ago, 3 large armies were keeping Hispania under Carthage's thumb. Now, this land is firmly in the hands of Rome. Can't talk anymore. I think I'm getting tired of talking. Not used to doing this. You embark once again, this time heading home. After such a long time in the army, you can't wait to see your family. And yet, your new life back home is not as you anticipated. Maybe it's your people who are different, or maybe it's just you, what you saw, what you got used to. You can't shake the feeling that something is missed now. Scipio's back too. Many Roman citizens regard the young general as a hero after the astounding victory in Hispania, and he is elected consul. After a long debate, Scipio is allowed to carry out his plan to invade Africa, the vast land beyond the sea to the south dominated by the city of Carthage itself. He is given command of the legions in Sicilia. They are composed of the survivors of Cannae? I think I might be saying that right, I'm not sure. Confined to the island until the end of the war as a punishment. Doomed to a long-lasting exile by someone else's ruinous blunder, the new consul is forbidden to levy any more legionaries, but volunteers are permitted. So here we can end the game. Had enough. Done with war. Probably have PTSD now. Or we can, enlist. Don't feel welcome at home. Want to continue the fight. So I'm just going to choose enlist, obviously, because I don't want to end the game. You travel to Sicilia by sea with Scipio himself and thousands of other volunteers. From there, the consul intends to launch the invasion of Africa that will hopefully end this war once and for all. So it looks like the consul likes me more. You join the 2 existing legions and begin the long months of training and preparations leading up to the new and final departure. However small, your reputation as the consul carries significant weight with your senior officers. So the centurions like me quite a bit more because the consul likes me. Alright, so here we are, part 5. Let's just take a look at our character sheet real quick. So our strength is high, endurance, pretty good, constitution, okay. Quickness is low still, coordination is getting better, charisma kind of low, awareness is pretty low, and intellect is kind of moderate. And again, we are a guard commander, we get paid more, and we are now in the Principes, veterans. let's take a look at our deeds. So yeah, you can see here we've killed 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people and 2 shared. So that shared just means that you fought them with friendly legionaries at the same time. And the troops pretty much love me. The Centurions like me quite a bit, and the consul has a slightly more than moderate view on me. My morale is really great. Okay, so I think this is probably a good time to close up here. It's a pretty fun game. I might do another one of these episodes. I plan on continuing to put out podcast episodes. I just thought I'd do this for fun. I was playing a game and I thought, why not? I like this game. It's difficult. This was actually the best run I've had so far in this. I've had one other run where I got this far, but I did not do nearly as well as I'm doing now and have nearly the number of kills. I ranked up in this round a lot faster. I think one thing that I like about this game a lot is just the history behind it. I've kind of a Rome buff, history buff a little bit. I'm not like any expert, but I've always found a bit of an interest in the Roman Empire and Republic and monarchy. I studied quite a bit in the past. It's been a while since I've read much on it though, so I'm not, that stuff leaves you after a while. I was pretty obsessed with it when I was younger. I'm actually Italian, not that that matters, but I think that kind of plays into my interest in it. It's kind of Latin history. But yeah, it's interesting to consider the viewpoint of one of these Roman soldiers, what it would actually be like. Even though it's all through exposition, I think it does a pretty good job of kind of capturing the feel. I think maybe some more kind of gamey aspects to this would be pretty cool. Like I said, if you could maybe walk around your camp during this screen, that'd be pretty neat. But yeah, overall, pretty cool game, and I think it was only like 10 or 15 bucks or something like that. Not incredibly expensive. I've got quite a bit of play out of it already. Like I said, this is probably my, 7th or 8th round of this. Most of those I failed really badly right at the beginning. It's interesting that one of my best runs so far is the one that I decide to do this episode on, or record. But anyways, yeah, like I said, this is just for fun. I plan on continuing to do the podcast. I want to apologize too for mic quality in some of the past few podcasts. So the big reason behind that is just, and no one's complained about it really too much, but the reason with that is I do only have one microphone right now. It's just a Blue Yeti. I'm not trying to drop several $100s on equipment when I'm just starting this whole thing out. But I would like to get an additional microphone probably soon here, maybe right now, because I have just gotten paid close to the beginning of the month, and I'd like to get some, what are they, like the boom arms with the I forget what they're called, the thing that makes it kind of softens the sound on those noises, and hopefully that will help a lot, because yeah, doing one mic, especially with multiple people, the sound quality just isn't too great. I think so far I'm pretty happy with how the podcast has gone. I think it's flowed well. The conversations have been fun and interesting, and everything's gone really well, but the sound definitely can improve. And like you can probably hear watching this right now, it's definitely better when I'm alone up close to it than it is with several people around it on, that stereo setting. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of what I plan. Future episodes, I'm not entirely certain. I know my girlfriend and we had one kind of in mind that we were thinking about doing. Probably just her and I. We might do that sometime this week or later this week. And then future episodes with other people, some of the guys have been on before, most likely, maybe even this weekend, kind of just brainstorming what to do. And if this video goes well, I might continue to put these out. I definitely probably do a part 2 of this, just because I wouldn't feel right doing one and not another. Since this is, just stopping halfway through it. We haven't finished. But anyways, thank you for listening to this, random video game episode, listening and watching to this episode. And I hope that if you like this, you'll like and subscribe, and tell your friends about us, and check out some of the other videos, and continue to tune in for some more good content.